stand of a royal coffin. That is a very significant moment indeed.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in London, where the Queen will lie in state for several days beginning Wednesday. America's listening to Fox News.
Identity theft shows no sign of slowing down. In fact, more than $14 billion stolen last year. That's a criminal success story and a wake-up call. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, LifeLock will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save 25% on their first year of protection with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. LifeLock.com, promo code BECK.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Sunny skies will continue through this evening, and skies remain clear tonight. We'll have a south wind 5 to 10, switching to the north around 10 to 15. We'll drop down to a low of 52 tonight and warm back to around 73 for your high on Tuesday. Partly cloudy with a north-northeast wind 10 to 20 with an overnight low of 50 Tuesday night. For Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, upper 70s with a chance for showers overnight as well as on Thursday. From the Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Today's weather is brought to you by Summit Carbon Solutions. The ethanol industry is critical for the North Dakota economy and our farmers. Summit Carbon Solutions is opening new economic opportunities for ethanol producers and helping maintain a strong market for corn growers while generating millions of dollars in new property taxes to help local communities support our schools and hospitals. Visit summitcarbonsolutions.com to learn how this project is driving the future of agriculture in North Dakota.
Live from the PetroServe USA studio, it's the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
Question of the day, and I'm going to reframe this in a moment, but bottom line is this. Remember the movie The Truman Show? Are you and I currently living in The Truman Show? I will explain in just a moment. Plus, should NDSU Bison coach Matt Entz, possible candidate for the head coaching job down at Nebraska for the Cornhuskers. Will he stay or will he go? Some other names, as we know, Chris Kleiman as well. So we'll dive into that later in the show as well. As always, would love to know your point of view. Hope you had an amazing weekend. I mean, it was just beautiful. It's just been an absolutely stunningly beautiful few weeks. So hopefully you get a chance to get out and enjoy that. Take in some Vikings games. We'll talk about that as well coming up. Number to call into the show, as always, to share your point of view, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. Or you can always email us as well, studio@chrisbergshow.com, studio@chrisbergshow.com. So I was with some friends over the weekend, and I just said this analogy to this person because I know you're just like me. You're just like me as you're going out and about, you're talking to family and friends, and you just have this gut feeling that something's just not right. You maybe can't put your finger on it. You maybe can't completely explain it, but you just know in your gut something just doesn't feel right. We've said now for a while here on the show, look, don't even trust me. Just trust God and trust your gut because that's all you have right now. We are in the biggest movie psyop, psychological operation, I would say, in the history of mankind. So I'm curious how many of you feel like something's just not right. Something just doesn't feel right. And what I'd love to hear from you, because that's how I feel, is I'd love to know from you just what is it that you think doesn't feel right? Like, what is it, if you had to guess, or maybe you know what's not right. I would love to know your point of view. Again, 701-271-1100. If you don't remember The Truman Show, or if you never saw The Truman Show, it's a movie with Jim Carrey, came out a while ago. I'm going to play a clip from it here in a moment and then share with you exactly how we're living in The Truman Show. I mean, we are living in The Truman Show, and it's frightening at times to me. The Truman Show was that movie with Jim Carrey, and he was part of this like giant. They sort of prefaced it as a reality show, right? But remember, like everything was a stage. Everybody within his life was a character, and he didn't know that they were in on it. And it's very early on in the movie, like one of the lighting things dropped, and nobody knew what it was. Like it fell from this giant sky, just and like crashes on the street. And he's kind of like, wait a second, what the heck is this? What just fell on the ground? And he walks up to it. Nobody's ever seen this big light before because it obviously was a light for the stage. Nobody ever seen a light before like that. And so that was the first hint, like, oh, wait a second, this is a giant production. This is a giant production. Everybody's in on it, except for you and I, maybe, or at least me. Maybe you're in on it too. I don't know. I just know that I feel like we are being part of this big movie, the biggest psychological operation in the history of mankind. And I'll show you how the media at least is in on it. And it's really powerful because you got to understand there was a line in the movie The Truman Show I'm going to play for, and I'm probably going to play it a couple times because it's got some depth to it. All right, I'll give it that. But it's just so true. It's just so true. And this is why we've been saying on the show, question everything. Everything. Question authority. We will not comply. But question everything right now because you just don't know. Here's a clip from The Truman Show that I want to play for you. And again, I'm going to play this a couple times. But so basically the director, quote unquote, of this giant reality show that Jim Carrey's a part of is being interviewed. And the movie's really well done because they go to Jim Carrey and you're like in the reality show. And then they cut to like this external audience, you know, watching this movie of Jim Carrey and The Truman Show. And so this obviously is outside the premise or the fourth wall, if you will, of the movie. And this guy's asking the director just a little bit about Truman himself, you know, what it's like to direct it. And listen closely to this because this, I think, shows you the laziness of humanity.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Man, I'm playing that again for you because you need to hear it again. So why has Truman, which is Jim Carrey, why hasn't he recognized the PSYOP up until now? Why has he not recognized this giant reality show? Again, everybody's in on it. Why hasn't he recognized it until now? There was a few things that took place to sort of tip him off. But listen to this again. And as I play this for you, I want you to listen to it in the context of what's happening today within the media. And how many people do you know that we've talked about before that just look like they're asleep? They can't hear the truth. No matter what you say to them, how softly you say it to them, how kindly you say it to them, you can show it to them, and they just can't see it because they've been psyoped. Here it is one more time. Please listen closely.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. Keep that in mind. And now listen to the Vice President of the United States in an interview over the weekend, who is supposed to be our border czar. Anybody with 2 brain cells knows what's happening down at our border. Okay? And yet, what's being done about it? Not much. Why? Because of things like this.
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that.
So in case you missed it, I'm going to play. This is Chuck Todd. I'm going to play the question for you again. John, if you can just make sure we got some volume here. And so Chuck Todd comes out and says, hey, do you feel the border secure? Listen.
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made: pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure, but we also
The border is secure. The first thing that we need to do is pass a bill for a pathway to citizenship. That's the first thing we need to do. Exactly why oftentimes here on the show, and I say it somewhat in jest and sometimes just because I love um, the Hispanic and Latino culture. I love a lot of things about Mexico and Latin America. And so I'm always saying to you, ¿hablas español? Por favor, porque es muy, muy importante para su futuro. So, like, it's important. Like, right now, when you hear this kind of stuff, it's like, okay, hope you're learning Spanish. Hope you're learning Spanish. Because I know I am. So, anyways, here's some more about how our border is secure. This is what I mean. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. This is the context of the Truman Show that you and I are living in, where you've got a vice president of the United States where they don't even blush anymore. I'm going to play another soundbite here from Alejandro Mayorkas, right? The head of DHS. They lie to you with a smile on their face and don't even blush. Because you and I, for the most part, we accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. Do you get it? Carrie says, nope, not me. Hashtag nope. Oh, no, not me. Like, no, I'm not just going to accept the reality. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. We've played for you before the study, and I will find it here before the end of the show, but it's the shock study. And I can't remember the name of it, but I will get it. But where it's all set up, right? The guy goes in to shock people. Supposedly, they're not really shocking them, but he thinks he is. And even though he knows that his shocks could potentially kill another human being, like he knows this, but a guy in a white jacket that looks like a doctor says, nope, you signed up for this. Even though before he even got in the room, the doctor said to him, hey, at any time you can leave. This is a study. At any time, you've got the freedom to leave this dealio. And a doctor is telling this guy to continue to raise the shock level on somebody. He continues to do it, even knowing the fact that he could kill another human being. It's all fake. There's nobody really in shocked. The guy's not really a doctor. But yet another human being accepts the reality of the world with which he is presented, even to the extent that he will kill another human being. That's how powerful the PSYOP is.
also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
2 million people. Just take a moment. And when I play the clip for you from Alejandro Mayorkas, it makes your stomach turn. 2 million people in the matter of a year. That is almost saying to you and me, okay, I got an idea. Let's triple, not quite, but close. Let's triple the size of North Dakota in 12 months and see what happens. Could we do that here? Do we have the infrastructure in our state to have 3 times the amount of people show up here in 12 months? Absolutely not.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
If I just repeat it enough, then you will accept the reality of the world with which you are presented. Do you hear it? We have a secure border. If I just keep telling you, you will accept the reality of the world with which you are presented.
But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years. We also have to put in place a law and a plan for.
Don't you love it? And look, I apologize for kind of bouncing it out here. I hope it's okay with you. I just want you to realize, again, what these people do to you and I, because what did she just say? Well, we had to deal with what took place for the last 4 years. We had the lowest border crossings ever in the history of Donald Trump. Maybe not ever, but you get my point. I mean, low border crossings with President Trump. And yet she talks about how we had to clean up a mess 4 years ago. Again, you will accept the reality of the world with which you are presented. She knows nobody really knows the border numbers, or very few people. So she can talk about the mess from Donald Trump is because, again, what have they done to Donald Trump? They labeled him as a domestic terrorist. We'll get to that in a moment. But he's a domestic terrorist. Of course he's going to ruin the border.
A pathway for citizenship for the millions of people who are here and are prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship. We don't have that in place because people are playing politics in a state like this and in Congress. By the way, you want to talk about bipartisanship on an issue that at one time was a bipartisan issue, both in terms of Republican senators and even president.
Espero están aprendiendo español. See, I mean, so we're going to get some more of this. Alejandro Mayorkas is coming up next. He had an interview on MSNBC over the weekend. Again, they just flat out lie and don't even blush anymore because they know that most people will accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. If you want to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100.
I'm John Hoeven, candidate for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message. As senator, I work every day helping North Dakota's small businesses, building our energy industry, supporting farmers and ranchers. I've pushed back on vaccine mandates, taxes, spending, and over-regulation by the Biden administration that is taking our state in the wrong direction.
John Hoeven's commitment is to North Dakota and to fighting for you. John Hoeven works for North Dakota.
Paid for by Hoeven for Senate.
Oil and natural gas help provide the things our counties and communities need. Taxes paid by the oil and natural gas industry fund schools, roads, and flood protection across North Dakota. That means we can run our farms and businesses and educate leaders for our future. It's one of the many ways oil and natural gas are making life better in North Dakota for generations. North Dakota's oil and natural gas, advancing the possibilities.
We don't live in North Dakota because of the nice year-round temperatures.
We don't live in North Dakota because of the ocean views.
And we don't live in North Dakota to be near a pro sports team.
We live in North Dakota because we enjoy it. It's relatively quiet with lots of elbow room.
It's a really beautiful state with lots of hunting and fishing opportunities. I'm Andrew from the Window and Door Store in Fargo.
And I'm Jaden. Because you live in North Dakota, you know that our winters can get pretty darn cold and windy.
And our summers can be really hot, humid, and windy. That's why we sell replacement windows and doors that are built for North Dakota weather.
North Dakotans love the variety of attractive, energy-efficient windows and doors we have.
North Dakotans love our lifetime guarantee on the installation of our windows.
And North Dakotans really like how we don't pressure anyone to buy, ever.
Call us, 701-205-0110.
Better windows, better doors. The Window and Door Store in Fargo.
Hi, Jeff from a Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry, and we're talking lab diamonds. At a Cutting Edge, you always get the best stone for your money, the biggest, whitest, brightest diamond, because that's what we guarantee. And in lab diamonds, we do the exact same thing. You can get a 1-carat lab diamond, D-color, the whitest a diamond can be, for under $2,000. And remember, you get the best cutting at a Cutting Edge. And we match that up with the largest selection of mountings in the upper Midwest. A Cutting Edge Jewelry.
Did you know that Advanced Business Methods is an employee-owned company based right here, and that means your money stays in the community? Today's printers are high-end computers. With print management software from Advanced Business Methods, you'll get data and analytics that help you track usage, tell you how to save money on the jobs you print, who is printing what, and so much more. Let's get your printing expenses under control today. Go online to find out more at abmnow.com. That's abmnow.com.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth. Truth. Wow, we are getting to that today big time. We're talking about, hey, are you and I living in the Truman Show? If you don't know that show, Old movie with Jim Carrey. Great line from the movie that says, "We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented." We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. Well, what if it's not real? What if it's not real? It's a mind bender, right? But what if it's not? I want to say thank you so much to Red Wing Shoes for sponsoring our studio email inbox. If you're someone out there working hard in a blue collar gig, first off, thank you so much for what you do. Secondly, we know you're on your feet all day, and so help us help you. Help us help you. We want to make sure that your feet feel great so you can go out there, continue to work hard, and just feel comfortable. So the nice thing about Red Wing Shoes is they will actually customize your work boot. So it's a protective work boot, but then it's also customized just to your feet. It is phenomenal. Go see Teresa at Red Wing Shoes. She's in Fargo here at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Again, that's 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Or just check them out online, redwingshoes.com. Again, that's redwingshoes.com. If you want to call into the show and share your point of view, could be anything. Maybe you want to talk about, the Bears beating the Niners, whatever it might be, or how maybe it's about, hey, do you accept the reality of the world with which you are presented? The number to call in, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. Now, the study I was thinking about in the last segment is called the Milgram Experiment. If we have time today, I will play some of that for you just to show you again how easy it is for the average you and me to fall prey to these psychological operations that are used on us on a daily basis. It's really true. We understand marketing. I mean, it is a daily basis situation. So how do you overcome that? How do you defend against that? You just got to be rigorous. You just need to be rigorous. And also, I want to get to this. So here we are. I just played for you. You accept the reality with which you are presented. Then I go and play for you a vice president of the United States of America when you've got 2 million, the most ever, 2 million illegal immigrants crossing our border, and the vice president of the United States says, the border's secure. I don't know what you're seeing, but the border's secure. There's no problem. We know that's not true, right? So there's obviously issues there. You've got known alleged terrorists crossing the border. I think it's like 62, 67 up to this point. So you know that's happening. There's other things that are going on, which we've seen taking place with some of these illegal immigrants. And yet the vice president wants to say, hey, this is secure. Now, on top of that, you put that on top of this dialogue between the president of the United States and many others in administration on what's the biggest threat facing America today. If you and I were to sit down and have a cup of coffee right now and we're hanging out and I asked you, hey, let me ask you, like, what would you say is the biggest threat facing America today? What would you say? What do you feel is the biggest threat facing America today? Now, there are many of them, right? There are a myriad of threats that face our nation, our communities, our families. And yet, what does this administration want to put a red alert out on 2 months before midterm days? This administration wants to put a red alert on domestic violent terrorists. In other words, mega supporters, people that actually want to go out and make America great again. This administration is going to tell you, because they know we accept the reality of the world with which we're presented, most people, that people that want to make America great again are the greatest threat our nation faces. In fact, to the extent that now DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, has put out a memo trying to raise, again, red alerts on these domestic violent terrorists. Now, I think what's really fascinating to keep in mind, I'm going to play some an interview with the DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. But keep in mind, do you remember when and why the Department of Homeland Security was created? It's been around for so long now, we just sort of presume it's like the FBI. Department of Homeland Security has been around since the 1960s, most of us would think. DHS, which now covers, it's probably one of the bigger monsters, if you will, within the government, wasn't even created until November of 2002. Wasn't even part of the government until November 2002. It was created because of post 9/11, what took place in 9/11, which obviously we commemorated yesterday because it was 21 years since that horrific day took place. So DHS wasn't even around until 2002. And now the script has been flipped so much that the number one thing that DHS wants to focus on is people that want to make America great again. So I'm going to play for you a little bit of this interview. I'll kind of jump in and out because it's stunning to hear what the Secretary of DHS is going to try to say to you with a straight face. And here it is.
Security Agency. We have a Center for Prevention Programs and Partnership to address the threat of domestic violent extremism. We've grown our grant funds working in partnership with state, local, tribal, territorial governments. We've grown along with that threat because it is our obligation to do so, to make sure that the American people are safe and secure, regardless of the nature of the threat that we confront.
Mr. Secretary, you have said that domestic extremism, quote, is the single greatest terrorism-related threat in the United States.
I mean, can you believe that? Domestic extremism, which now is a very broad brush. We've been talking about it often on the show. Back in January, and before then, they were trying to change the domestic terrorism law so they could use federal prosecution against everyday Americans. Domestic extremism, the single greatest terrorism-related threat in the United States of America today. As our border is being inundated, in fact, the governor of Texas has called it an invasion, while our border is being invaded by people that we don't even know.
What are the best ways to combat the domestic terrorism threat?
I think, of course, we have to address the underlying cause. And in fact, the president is convening a summit against hate next week. We have to address.
Wow. Has anyone else told you about this summit? Do you does everyone see what's happening here? We talked about this on September 2nd. Because what happened on September 1st? September 1st was the night that President Joe Biden went out with the red backdrop. Some of the most bizarre political optics I've ever seen. And basically threatened 74 million Americans as being some of the worst people on the planet. Because here's the one thing that you need to know, and I sort of touched on this maybe on September 2nd when I shared this, and thank you for everyone that shared that monologue. It's been shared now, I think, 700 times, 75,000 views. So thank you. Continue to share great content here. But one of the things that you need to know about humans, and some people know this, some people don't, is that you and I will do more to avoid pain than we will to gain pleasure. Let me repeat that. You and I will do more to avoid pain than we will to gain pleasure. That is why when you see the political ads right now, i.e. Jensen versus Walz, right? The reason that Walz is starting to make some movement in the polls, at least some of the polls that are out there, is because what is Walz doing? He is destroying Scott Jensen. Everything that comes out from Governor Walz is too extreme. He's an extremist. He's extreme, blah, blah, right? That creates pain in your mind that I can't vote for someone that's extreme. That's going to create pain for me and my family. Where what Jensen is doing, Jensen is coming out and he's saying, "Hey, I'm Scott Jensen, and I'm not for abortion. I'm pro-life, but I'm not going to out." Like, he's still trying to talk about Scott Jensen. People will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. Thus, if Scott Jensen, in my opinion, wants to start to move up in the polls and start to have a great opportunity to win, which I still think he can, you've got to generate pain in people's brains around your opponent. You got to come out and talk about, hey, look, Walz is dangerous. Have you seen the carjackings that have gone up in Minneapolis? I mean, Tim Walz is dangerous for Minnesota. Did you see what happened in the 3rd precinct? I mean, that's the kind of dialogue you want to create and generate, but I don't see that happening at this point. My point is that is the strategy right now the Biden administration is using, is to smear anyone and everyone that wants to make America great again, because that will create pain in your brain. Thus, you won't vote for many of the mega candidates or people that represent making America great again. We'd love to hear your point of view. The number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. You can email us studio at chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio at chrisbergshow.com. When we come back, more from Alejandro Mayorkas right after this.
Sunny skies will continue through this evening, and skies remain clear tonight. We'll have a south wind 5 to 10, switching to the north around 10 to 15. We'll drop down to a low of 52 tonight and warm back to around 73 for your high on Tuesday. Partly cloudy with a north-northeast wind 10 to 20 with an overnight low of 50 Tuesday night. For Wednesday, partly sunny, breezy, upper 70s with a chance for showers overnight as well as on Thursday. From the Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Need an escape? No, not a vacation. An escape from your basement. Here at Precision Concrete Cutters, we specialize in egress window installation and replacement. So not only do we provide you an escape from your basement, but we provide sunlight into that dark, dreary space to make you feel like you're on vacation. Okay, maybe not, but you will relax knowing that you do have a safe way out.
For more information on egress windows, go to pccnd.com. That's pccnd.com.
Big Iron is the area's largest farm show, and Acme Equipment will be there, showcasing Kubota tractors, utility vehicles, zero-turn mowers, skid steers, and much more. Take advantage of low-rate financing and money-saving discounts. As the area's newest Kubota full-line dealer, Acme Equipment is committed to serving the farming community with the highest quality sales, service, and farm products in the industry. Stop by our building during Big Iron and visit with one of our expert sales staff and see why Kubota is right for you.
Dakota Bank is one of the largest ag banks by volume in the United States, and certainly the top ag lender in the Dakotas. For decades, Dakota Bank has worked with ag producers just like you. We're committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. I'm Judd Graham, market president of our new Fargo, North Dakota location, and my team is here for you. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Dakota Bank, banking, insurance, mortgage, and trust.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Trust and insurance are not FDIC insured.
Some big news. Tucked away in Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act was over $80 billion for the IRS to hire 87,000 new employees. That means thousands of new IRS agents, almost doubling the size of the IRS. Bloomberg reports this means more IRS audits on taxpayers like you. All this week, Rob Schmidt on Newsmax takes on this new IRS army and the dangers to you, your money, and your freedom. Watch Rob Schmidt every night, 6 p.m. Central on Newsmax. He's not afraid to take on big government. Rob exposes their power grab and shows you how to fight back. I watch Newsmax. You should too. Tune in to Newsmax tonight for Rob Schmidt, plus Greta Van Susteren, Eric Bolling, and a lot more on America's trusted cable news channel. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems. If your system doesn't carry it, call them. Tell them you want Newsmax. And watch Rob Schmidt tonight. Remember, Newsmax is real news for real people.
Fall in our area is great, with cooler weather and the Tailgaters patio to enjoy it on. Whether it's their all-you-can-eat lunch buffet from 11 to 2 weekdays, or dinner and an ice-cold beverage after work, Tailgaters is the place, and there's no better place to watch football on Saturday and Sunday. On game day, get their never-frozen, fresh-made half-pound burgers with fries for just $10.99. Domestic pints and bottles just $3.75. There's live music every Friday night at 7. This week, Jim White plays at Tailgaters, corner of Main and University, downtown Fargo.
The team at North Star Ag knows that no two farm operations are the same. They take pride in learning what makes yours unique, and through years of experience, bring the know-how and understanding that your farm deserves. North Star Ag is North Dakota's largest and most trusted full-service short-line machinery dealer with parts, service, and a huge inventory. From planting to growing to harvest, they help farmers and growers all over North Dakota, and they want to do the same for you. Learn more online at northstarag.com. North Star Ag, committed to quality, committed to you.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. We're talking about a lot of things today, but how do I even sum this up? Just basically like, you know, in your gut, something's not right. You just, I know you know it. I know it. I talked to a lot of people that say the same thing. So what is that thing Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. We left off with Alejandro Mayorkas, the secretary of the DHS, telling us that next week, apparently President Biden's going to have a summit about hate and how to, fight the hate in the country. It's stunning because I don't even want to see what he's going to project and say in this meeting. Also want to remind you, tomorrow, big announcement coming out at 8:30, I believe 7:30 our time tomorrow morning about the latest inflation report. I'm sure you've seen, again, a couple months away from the midterms. Amazing. Gas prices going down. The inflation report comes out tomorrow. Probably going to be demonstrated as a fairly decent number compared to what we've seen in, May and June. And I bring all this up because it's more important than ever that you get yourself educated about decentralized finance. What does that mean? Well, very easy to find out. Go to The Reaper, REAPER.io. Again, TheReaper.io. And just email Patrick there. Patrick Riley, his brother's the CTO here in North Dakota. So great connection in North Dakota. You can email him and he'll reach out to you, connect. Patrick, Patrick, Patrick at TheReaper.io. Let's get to the phone lines. Again, if you want to call in and share your point of view, very easy to do. 701-271-1100. Let's go to Rocky. Rocky, welcome to the show. What's your point of view, sir?
Good afternoon, Chris. Thank you for taking my call. I could think of a lot of things I might want to say are the greatest threat to the United States, to our country, whether it's open borders or China. What it really comes down to, it's the people that are allowing all the things to happen, that are instituting the policies that are destroying our country, destroying our economy, our sovereignty, our national security. I'm not going to point a finger at the Democrats. I call what's called the uniparty. Uniparty is that airplane being flown with a left wing and a right wing, the establishment Republicans, the establishment Democrats. And they are gleefully both flying this country straight into the ground. And they really don't care because they're on the grift. They're all feathering their nest. They've got their power structure set up, and they're working for the globalists. As far as I'm concerned, they're working for the West. They're Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs, the whatever. But they're not working for the American people. They're not working for this country anymore. They quit a long time ago. They quit decades ago, probably before World War II. This was all being instituted, going back to the founding of the Federal Reserve. If you want to do your research on it. And they really are. It's just, unless we stand up as a nation, we stand up as a people and say enough of this, it's just going to keep on getting worse. I mean, we're in 1984 right now.
So, Rocky,
see what's going on with DOJ, the FBI, and
you're kind of reading my mind. And I've been saying now, I talked about this last week, but if you know anything about, again, the way the human psyche works, when you have a red and a blue, it's really easy to divide, right? A divided nation cannot stand. I've said now a third party is coming. It has to come. The question is, can it get here soon enough? So my question for you, because this is the thing I struggle with, is there's no way so many things can go so wrong so quick in the last 20 months without it being somewhat purposeful. But the question I have for you is, so what do we do? Sometimes I just feel like it's this daunting avalanche. The avalanche has already started, and you kind of just have to hope that the snow goes over you and you don't get stuck below 20 feet of snow. You know what I mean?
Well, my suggestion is it's been going on for 20 months, but it is 100% purposeful. From going back to the start of the pandemic to all of these supply chain problems to the energy crunch. When you look where we were 2 years ago, energy independent, gas was $1.59 in Fargo. Jobs were plentiful. Unemployment was in the basement. It was all good. This is all done on purpose. And we do have a third party. It's called the MAGA party. And it's full of people from both parties. Mass amounts of people that I've met at rallies, that I've talked to across the nation, friends and people. You get the feel of it. There's tons of Democrats have jumped ship. The walkaway project, whatever that was at one time. But that's true. It's out there. Why are so many Hispanics and blacks coming over? Because they look at what's really going on. And they're like, hey, we're not that stupid. We're not listening to their crap anymore. I used to be a Democrat, born a Democrat. That was my family. Father was a union worker. Everybody in my family, mostly union workers. But I learned a long time ago, I didn't really like what they were for. I thought they were just for special interest groups and, division politics. I mean, independent for many years. I became a Republican, joined the party, I was a district chairman here in North Dakota. I won't join either party anymore. I've had enough of both of them. They're nothing but snakes at the state level, at the national level. They're horrible. They don't want any grassroots movements.
Great.
They want to crush them.
Great phone call. I appreciate it. If you want to call into the show and share your point of view, very easy to do. 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. And it's. I think Rocky brings a really interesting point. Buen punto, Rocky. Muchas gracias. Is when you start to see, because look, let's be honest, the Democrats have thought they've had a stronghold on minority voters now forever, right? I mean, there's some lines that I'm sure you've heard LBJ say when he signed the Civil Rights Act that I can't repeat over these airwaves, but I'm sure you know exactly what I'm suggesting. And that's what I mean by something just isn't right. I can't tell you exactly what it is. I've got my own ideas, right? I mean, one of the things that I would suggest and I would encourage all of us to do, and we've been talking about this now for a little while, is just one of the things I would love to see restored in our nation is just righteousness. I mean, I hate to say this, but like I try to turn on a music station these days, I can get about, and I sound like an old fart saying this, but it's like I get about halfway through a song, I'm like, this is just trash. So I don't have the answer. I just know that we need to restore some righteousness in our country, and it's one of those things where you just know it. You can feel it when things are righteous and when they're not. And that's why when you watch these politicians just lie to us and they don't even blush, I don't know how you overcome that. So love to hear from you. 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. Maybe that's a question too. Is there a third party coming sooner than I think? I know Andrew Yang has got something he's up to, but is there going to be enough money and organization to overcome these other two parties that just continue to divide us? Here's some more from Alejandro Mayorkas.
And we have to work with local communities to equip and empower them to address the threat that could materialize. You know, we have seen in Buffalo, New York, in Uvalde, Texas, in Highland Park, individuals who showed signs of descending down a path to violence. And we have to educate people on how to identify the signs when somebody is in need of help. And
how to identify the signs? See, this is what I'm saying. We accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. Just for a quick refresher here, because I think this is important to the context of what's being communicated right now. Do you remember what went down in Uvalde? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will spell it out. Do you remember? Again, clearly bad person in the school. Yes. So that is a given. All I'm saying is he wants to point out Uvalde as being this domestic violent threat that puts everyone on red alert around mega. But keep in mind, you had law enforcement in that building that did nothing. They did nothing. So does that now give him a green light to go and, bash law enforcement? Possibly. I mean, knowing how this administration works, maybe that's what they'll do. But let's get to the phone lines here. We've just got a short amount of time, so we have to keep this over. But again, if you want to call in, 701-271-1100. Danny, welcome to the show. What's your point of view?
The tail end of, I don't think it was this caller, but the caller before, and I could have said the same thing he said, talking about the rhinos and the uniparties and the mega party is our own party. And anyway, my point is, we right here in North Dakota got a heck of an opportunity this fall to get rid of one of them because a wonderful guy he's running as an independent, and I think people ought to check him out. He's a conservative. He doesn't go along to get along every time like the other one does.
Sir,
so that's my point.
Danny,
hopefully everybody votes.
Thank you for the phone call. And yes, everyone get out and vote. Danny, I don't know if we heard that there over the airwaves, but Danny, I'm presuming is speaking about Rick Becker. Rick Becker is on the ballot. That was announced, I believe, late last week, running against Senator John Hoven, Representative Becker running as an independent. So if you want to call into the show, we may change it up a little bit here in this last segment. I might play a little bit more of Alejandro Mayorkas para ti, or we might even just talk a little bit more about, NDSU and some of the NFL, the inflation report. We can talk about really whatever you want. So call in 701-271-1100. This is the Chris Berg Show.
Big Iron, here we come. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Hannon. What's on your mind will be live from the Butler Arena all 3 days of Big Iron. See all that great technology and equipment, Fendt, Lexion, Rogator, Challenger, and Class. Combines to planners. Butler has what growers need to see and learn about. Coming out to Big Iron, stop by the Butler Arena as we broadcast live on What's on Your Mind. By the way, you tell us you stand for the flag, we're going to flip you a flag cap, too. Big Iron at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo. What's on Your Mind live at the Butler Arena, brought to you by Intelligent Ag and Butler Machinery.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the North Dakota Army National Guard. Aired by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association at this station.
The fertile soil and wide open skies make our corner of Minnesota unique. But our people make it truly special. We're hardworking folks doing our best to raise a family, grow a business, or support our community. And Dan Bomer is one of us. He's a lifelong resident of the Red River Valley, a career veteran of the Army and National Guard, and 2 of his sons have served in uniform. Dan understands skyrocketing costs are hurting us. Whether buying groceries, gas, or school supplies, we're feeling the squeeze of soaring prices. Dan Bomer will stand up to the liberal metro politicians and fight to beat rising costs. By holding government accountable, cutting taxes, and growing our local economy, Dan Bomer is one of us. That's why Dan Bomer is fighting for our families. Learn more at stateofgreatmn.org. Prepared and paid for by the Coalition of Minnesota Businesses.
Back and bigger than ever is the Big Iron Farm Show presented by the Cass County Farm Bureau. Stop out to the Red River Valley Fairgrounds September 14th to the 16th for the 41st Big Iron Farm Show. You'll see the latest in the agriculture industry, hear from industry leaders, and more. With more than 500 exhibitors at Big Iron, there's something for everyone. September 14th to the 16th. It's Big Iron. Get all the details at BigIronFarmShow.com.
Update the lighting in your home and save 11% on everything now at Menards. Ultra-thin Juno LED downlights are a time-saving solution for new recessed lighting. They're easy to install anywhere without the need for recessed housing. Add bright, energy-efficient indoor and outdoor lighting to your home. Get 11% off all recessed lighting now at Menards. Good through September 18th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show here on a beautiful Monday afternoon. We are your daily dose of truth. We're like your one-a-day vitamin for truth to help set you free. A lot of great comments coming in here on our live stream. We get to live stream the show every single day on a bunch of different social media channels. We're going to get to some of those in a moment. If you want to call into the show as well, very easy to share your point of view, 701-271-1100. Again, 701-271-1100. I want to remind you, if you're someone right now who just might not feel like yourself, maybe you're dealing with long COVID, anxiety, depression. I mean, the mental health thing is so pervasive these days. One place that's doing some really, really great work. I've been through it. It's been fantastic for myself. I would encourage you to go check it out because it's a free consultation, and it's basically you sit back, you take an hour nap. They put some things in your ears with some sound. It might be for you, it might not be. But Sirius at Fargo really helping people overcome some mental health, maybe some trauma. The number there, 701-566-5231. Again, 701-566-5231. Again, that's Sirius of Fargo. So we started the show by me asking you, hey, are you and I living in the Truman Show? And if you haven't seen the Truman Show, I would encourage you to watch it. And I think you're going to be like, oh gosh, Berg might have a point. Maybe we are. So we got a lot of great comments that are coming in. I just want to represent you to what the conversation's really been about, and then we'll get to the comments on the live stream. So here is like an interview happening within the Truman Show. Listen in the context of what's happening in today's media and the things that you're being fed and what happened with COVID. And I could go on and on and on down the list, but listen closely to this, and then we'll jump into some comments and some feedback.
Christoph, let me ask you, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. So we've been having a big conversation about that. Many of you are saying, I'm just going to go through these. Brooke says, hey, we need Rick Brecker for Senate, strong constitutional sheriffs as well. Brooke also talks about in context of our conversation today, it's ultimately spiritual warfare. The evil isn't even trying to hide anymore because we're allowing it. I mean, so well said. So well said. Another person here says, hey, the devil has blinded so many eyes. We must repent and seek the Lord Jesus Christ. He will set your world view right. You know, it's interesting that, thank you for all these comments that are coming. I want to share something with you that happened to me on Sunday. Was at church. You know, you go to church, you get a chance to just have some time with the Lord. For me, at least, that's a good place where he talks to me. And I don't know if this will resonate with you. Hopefully it does, because I feel like, hey, if more of us could do this, it might start to have sort of that pebble in a pond effect, the butterfly effect. But the Lord really came to me and he's like, look, Chris, here's what I need you to do. I need you to walk in the law of kindness. Now, if you read Proverbs 31, it talks about a Proverbs 31 woman that acts or is or just bees that law of kindness, that kindness is always on her tongue, I think it even says, but it's that law of kindness. So he said to me, Chris, you need to walk in the law of kindness, and may your lips be filled with righteousness. And so I just think about that for you and I. Like, if you were to actually take your life and you walked around all day and walked with a kind heart, that's one of the fruits of the Spirit, right? Kindness, gentleness. But then if your lips were filled with righteousness and everything that came out of your mouth was filled with righteousness, I just think that would be amazing. Amazing. Like, it's one of those things now where, you know, for me, when people start swearing, like, it's just, I can feel it. Teresa says this: Walls should focus on himself, the wonderful shutdowns of all the small businesses, the incarceration of small business owners because they came to a decision to open or starve. Thank you, Teresa, for reminding us about that. What about the riots, the defunding of the police? Time to move on, Minnesota. Let's get back to Minnesota nice, or Minnesota kindness, right? Walk in the law of kindness. Brooke also goes on to say, again, they're treasonous criminal traitors at best, horrific and being funded and weaponized against us using our own stolen tax dollars. Teresa goes on to say, our next enemy, UFOs, whichever acronym you best associate with, UAPs, UFOs. I've been saying now for months, like, just wait, right? Here we are. We're kind of coming out of Labor Day weekend. Everyone knows the campaign really kicks off after Labor Day weekend. You saw the speech on September 1st. I told you this was the beginning of the setup to create the division. There was going to be some sort of flag that's going to take place within the next 2 months. It's coming. Just be prepared mentally. Again, do not accept the reality of the world with which you are presented. Question everything right now. My point is, Biden sets it up on September 1st, and then just be conscious and watch what's going to happen over the next 2 months, because I hate to say it, but you and I ain't seen nothing yet. We ain't seen nothing yet. And it's been bad. I mean, it's been bad. But we ain't seen nothing yet. So just be prepared. Again, I told you this is called a pre-frame. As long as you know, you can start to prepare yourself. So when things get a little haywire and rocky, you're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Tomorrow we'll have a lot more time with open phones, and hopefully we're going to have a special guest about a very interesting situation happening in Fargo, with property owners and renters. That's kind of been going, not kind of, it has been going under the radar. So we'll bring some light to that. Plus, we hope to have a report, if you will, on the Elks all ages drag show that happened over the weekend. This is the Chris Berg Show. I love you. Have a great day.